If you really loved me, you'd let me sleep with him, she said. So I gave her my blessing, permanently. She came back 2 weeks later, pregnant and panicked. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I used to think love meant patience. That if you stood by someone long enough, gave them understanding, supported their goals, it would all come back around eventually. For a while it did. Or at least, it looked like it. Maya and I met 3 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. She was magnetic, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make every conversation shift toward her without even trying. I was quieter, more grounded. She liked that about me at first. Said I made her feel safe. She was spontaneous, artistic, unpredictable. I was steady, logical, consistent. It balanced, or so I believed. Things started changing around the time she got her new job. It wasn't anything obvious at first. Just little comments. She'd come home talking about different energies and how people at work lived more authentically. Then came the phrases I didn't understand, about finding herself, about freedom, about how our generation doesn't need to cling to outdated rules. I tried to keep up. I listened, asked questions, tried to show her I respected her individuality. But every time I thought we were just having a deep talk, it somehow ended with her looking at me like I didn't get it. One night, she came home late from a work happy hour. I'd made dinner. She walked in smiling, her perfume filling the kitchen. "Don't wait up next time," she said casually, dropping her purse on the table. We lost track of time. "Did you have fun?" I asked. "Yeah," she said, grinning. "Ethan came too. You'd like him, he's hilarious." That was the first time I heard his name. She mentioned him again a few days later, then again the week after that. "Ethan says monogamy is just a social construct," she said once, laughing over her phone. "He's kind of right, don't you think?" I didn't answer right away. She noticed. "Relax," she said. "He's just a friend. You're so traditional sometimes." It wasn't jealousy. It was the tone. The way she said traditional, like it was something to be ashamed of. I told myself it was a phase, new job, new crowd, new ideas. She was 28, still figuring things out. I'd been with her through worse moods. So I stayed patient. But patience started to feel like standing still while she moved further away. She stopped holding my hand in public, said it felt performative. Stopped saying, "I love you," back sometimes, claiming words weren't necessary when energy speaks louder. She spent more nights recharging with friends, and when I asked if something was wrong, she said I was being too intense. I didn't recognize her anymore, but I kept pretending I did. I kept cooking, working, checking in, showing up. The more she drifted, the more I tried to anchor us. Then one night, as we were sitting on the couch, she turned to me and said, "Do you ever feel like we're too conventional?" I looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She shrugged, eyes on the TV. "Just predictable. Like we're following someone else's rules instead of writing our own." I smiled faintly. "You mean, like a normal relationship?" She sighed. "See? That's what I mean. You always make it sound like I'm wrong for wanting more." "More of what, Maya?" She didn't answer. Just got up, kissed my forehead, and said, "Forget it. You wouldn't understand." That was the first time I felt it. The quiet sense that something inside us had shifted and no amount of patience was going to fix it. Maya came over late one Friday night. I'd noticed she'd been quiet all week. No calls, short texts, none of the usual love yous that used to fill the silence. When she finally walked through the door, her expression was set, like she'd already practiced what she was going to say. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Of course." She sat across from me, twisting the strap of her purse. "I've been thinking about us. About connection. About what love really means." I knew the speech already. I'd heard versions of it for months. Always about how she felt boxed in by commitment, how she needed to explore her truth. But this time, her tone was different, almost rehearsed, like she was preparing to justify something. "I've realized," she said slowly, "that love should be unconditional. Real love means giving your partner freedom, not control." "Freedom," I repeated. "We both have freedom, Maya." "Not that kind," she said, shaking her head. "Emotional freedom, physical freedom, the freedom to follow attraction without guilt." I blinked. "You're saying you want to see other people?" She gave a small, pitying smile. You always phrase things so harshly. It's not about seeing someone else. It's about being honest about desire. If you really love me, you'll understand that. For a few seconds, I couldn't even respond. I just stared at her, trying to make sense of what she was asking for. You want to be with someone else? I finally said. She held my gaze and nodded, almost proudly. I need to. For me. To figure out what I want long term. And you expect me to be okay with that? She shrugged, exasperated. I expected you to love me enough to trust me. I thought you'd want me to be happy, even if that means I have to experience other connections. Something in me went still. All the little comments, the late nights, the philosophy about freedom, it all connected. This had been building for months. I leaned back, choosing my words carefully. If that's what you need to do, Maya, I won't stop you. She looked startled. Wait, you're serious? You said you need to figure things out. I'm not going to fight you over it. Her expression flickered between confusion and relief. So you're giving me your blessing? I nodded once. If that's what you call it. She searched my face for anger and didn't find any. I knew you'd understand, she said softly, as if she'd just won an argument. I didn't respond. I just watched her gather her things and leave, humming quietly, as if she'd just made a brave, noble decision instead of dismantling everything we'd built. When the door closed, the apartment felt heavier, quieter. I remember thinking, so that's what love means to her. Freedom without consequence. I didn't text her that night. I didn't text her the next day either. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt the weight of something breaking cleanly, like a rope finally snapping after too much strain. The next few days were quiet, not peaceful, just hollow. I didn't block Maya. I didn't delete her number. I didn't even check her social media. I just let the silence sit there between us and watched what she'd do with it. She didn't call, didn't text, didn't ask if I was okay. That told me everything. It was like she'd convinced herself she was the brave one, the enlightened woman choosing freedom, while I was just too traditional to understand. And I'll admit, part of me wanted her to realize what she'd thrown away. But another part, the quieter, tired part, already knew she wouldn't. Not right away. The apartment felt strange without her. Her coffee mug sat on the counter, her hairbrush still on the dresser. But I didn't touch any of it. I went to work, came home, and started living like someone who'd already let go, because in a way, I had. A week passed, then another. Around the middle of the second week, I saw her name flash on my phone. Maya. My chest tightened, not with hope, but with curiosity. I answered, and before I could even speak, her voice came through the line, shaky and nervous. Hey, can we talk? Her tone wasn't calm or confident anymore. There was a tremor underneath, like she was holding something back. Sure, I said evenly. What's going on? I need to see you. It's important. I could tell she was in a panic, but I didn't rush to fill the silence. I let her sit in it for a moment before saying, all right, come by. She showed up that evening, eyes red, hair pulled back, wearing one of my old sweatshirts. She looked smaller somehow, like the wind had been knocked out of her. Maya, I said quietly, what happened? She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. I made a mistake. I didn't move. What kind of mistake? Her hands trembled as she rubbed her temples. I thought I could separate things. I thought it would make me feel free, but it didn't. It just made me feel empty. I stayed quiet. She was waiting for me to jump in, to comfort her, to take her hand and tell her everything would be okay. But I didn't. After a few seconds, she whispered, I don't even know how to say this. You can start with the truth, I said. Her eyes filled with tears. I think I'm pregnant. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then I said, calmly, then I guess you got what you wanted, freedom. Her face broke. Please, don't do this. I didn't mean for it to happen. Of course you didn't, I said quietly. You just wanted to find yourself, right? You said love meant letting you be with whoever you needed. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. For the first time since she'd left, I didn't feel pain. I just felt done. She broke down right there in my living room, crying into her hands. But I didn't move. I didn't reach out. I just stood there, watching the person who once told me love meant freedom finally realize what freedom really costs. I don't even know if it's his, she whispered. I messed everything up. I know I did. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I can't do this alone. That line, I can't do this alone, hit me in a strange way. Because she had been so sure that being alone was what she wanted. And now, faced with the reality of it, she wanted me to fix the mess for her. Again. Maya, I said quietly, you made your choice. You asked me to let you go, remember? You said that's what love meant. Her face twisted in regret. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I didn't think. No, I cut in. You didn't want to think. You wanted to feel powerful. You wanted control. And now you're just scared because it finally hit you what that costs. She took a shaky breath, trying to pull herself together. I can't believe you're being so cold. Cold, I said, almost laughing. You told me you needed to sleep with someone else to find yourself. I told you to go. What did you expect me to do now? Welcome you back? Her eyes went wide, like the thought had never actually occurred to her until that moment, that I might really be done. I still love you, she said desperately. I know you love me too. I used to, I said simply. But that version of you doesn't exist anymore. Her lips trembled. So that's it. You're just going to throw us away? I shook my head. You did that weeks ago. She stood there for a long time, looking around the apartment like she was trying to find a trace of the man who used to wait up for her, who used to believe her excuses, who used to fight to keep her. But he wasn't there anymore. When she finally left, she didn't slam the door. She just closed it quietly behind her. That was the part that stuck with me, the silence. No final fight, no dramatic goodbye. Just silence. A few days later, her sister called me. Apparently Maya had moved back in with her parents and told them everything, or at least, her version of it. Her mom even reached out once, asking me to be understanding, saying Maya was confused and scared. I told her politely that I wished Maya peace and that we wouldn't be in contact again. And that was the end of it. For the first time in months, my life went still. Not empty, just still. I started sleeping through the night again. I started cooking, going to the gym, even meeting friends I'd been neglecting because every weekend had been about managing Maya's moods. It's strange how quickly peace feels like a luxury once you've lived without it. Sometimes I'd catch myself wondering if she ever really loved me, or if she just loved the version of herself that she could see through my eyes. But those thoughts stopped coming eventually, because deep down, I knew the answer. 3 months later, I ran into her again, completely by accident. I was at a local cafe with a few coworkers, grabbing lunch between meetings. I'd just finished laughing at something one of them said when I heard a voice behind me. Ethan. It was soft, hesitant, but I recognized it instantly. I turned around. Maya looked different. Pale. Exhausted. Her hair was tied back messily, and her eyes had that heavy, restless look of someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. She was holding a to-go cup, but her hand was trembling. Hey, I said calmly. Her lips parted slightly. You look different. I feel different, I said. She nodded, trying to smile, but her face cracked halfway through. I heard you got promoted. Yeah, I replied. It's been good. The team's great. Silence. She shifted her weight awkwardly. I'm living with my parents again. Things didn't work out with Lucas. I didn't react. I just looked at her, waiting. He didn't care about me, she said quietly. He just wanted to have fun. The second I told him about the baby, he disappeared. Blocked my number. His friends told me he's already seeing someone else. She looked up at me then, eyes glistening. I don't even know what to do, Ethan. I'm so scared. I'm sorry that happened, I said simply. But there's nothing I can do. Her face twisted. You don't mean that. You're not that cold. You've always cared about people. I do care, I said. But I also learned that caring doesn't mean fixing what someone chose to break. She shook her head, tears spilling now. I was stupid. I thought you'd fight for me. I thought you'd try to stop me that night. I did, I said quietly. By letting you go. That shut her up for a few seconds. Her expression flickered between disbelief and heartbreak. I thought you'd always love me, she said. I did love you, I said. That's why I let you have what you thought you wanted. But love doesn't survive disrespect. The words hung between us for a while. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. Her voice broke. I miss you so much. Please, can we just talk? Maybe start over? I've changed. I smiled faintly. You said that before every line you crossed. And each time, I believed you. That was my mistake, not yours. Her tears turned desperate. You can't just walk away from everything we had. I already did, I said, standing up. And trust me, it's the best thing I ever did for myself. She looked like she wanted to scream, but couldn't find the words. Just trembling, silent, shattered. As I left the cafe, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I've learned that peace doesn't come from getting closure. It comes from realizing you don't need it. Maya taught me that love without respect is just self-destruction dressed up as devotion. And for the first time in a long time, I was finally free. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.